Let's talk home inspections real quick. So, home inspections are awesome. They tell you what's wrong with the house. They go from little to structural to major to minor. As of lately, the home inspectors have been tearing apart houses, pointing out every little tiny defect from a piece of tiny chipped paint to a chipped tile to a carpet that has a stain on it. Just things that need to get painted, which is great. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to point out things because they inspect the home. But those are things that you should have already seen before you put the offer in on the house. As you're walking around, you should have looked. You need to look and see those things. The home inspector is more for behind the scenes, things that we can't see, things that we don't fully know about, that they'll get in, they'll get deeper. They'll check for structural issues. They'll check to make sure it's built correctly. They will look for mold-like substance because since me and or them are not mold experts, we cannot call black or brown or green fuzzy stuff growing from the sheetrock mold. We call it mold-like substance. So you get it tested. We can also not tell you if something is lead paint because we're also not lead paint certified, but we do tell houses before 1978 that you should get it checked out just to make sure to see what is lead and what is not lead, because some lead can be painted over and it's still there but doesn't look like it. Not that I know what lead paint looks like because I'm not an expert again. Just a couple disclaimers right there for you. So, when you're walking around with the home inspector and he starts tearing it apart, you cannot be an anxious Aaron or a nervous Nelly. You got to take it with a grain of salt that he's going to point at everything. He's going to tell you that the faucet looks old. Well, it probably is. The house is used. It's not brand new. Like, things have been used, and that's what they're supposed to be, that you're supposed to use them. So most of those things you can live with. What you need is the major stuff, the mold-like substance, the paint that looks like it needs, it's before 78, the structural issues, if there's, sump pumps, those things that you didn't catch when you first went through. Those are the big major issues that he needs to look at or she needs to look at and find for you and let you know. So as they're walking around, take it with a grain of salt. When they give you the report, in the report is the most important thing. So those are the issues that we can either renegotiate the contract, the purchase price, or we can terminate the contract and walk away because the issues were too much. You cannot walk away from a house by saying, I didn't like an electrical outlet. You can't. But if the trusses weren't supported correctly and they're starting to fall down, and you can see them sagging, like, those are issues that we need to get fixed by the seller before we buy, or they take it off the price of the price of the house, and you can fix it after. But those things definitely need to be done. So as they're doing it, grain of salt. When you get the report, that's the major key right there. Another thing is, do you have a home inspection on the house or apartment you're living in right now? 99.9% of people do not, because you don't. Why would you? How do you know that there's not mold-like substance in your house or in your apartment or behind the bathroom wall? How do you know that an outlet is not wired incorrectly in your house right now? You don't, because you've never had it tested. You've never had your apartment gone through. You've never looked underneath the carpet. You've never looked in the attic, because those are things you don't necessarily need to look at, because most of them are livable. You can live with them. I get it. I understand it's the biggest purchase of your life and you want to make sure you're covered, but you also need to make sure you can differentiate between what's livable and what needs to be repaired. That's it, guys. Thanks. Have a great day.